The galaxy almost fell because of one ambush. It survived because of one human who refused to walk away. Cole Arden was not a hero. He was not a soldier, not a politician, not someone history would normally remember. He fixed broken machines for a living. Old cargo ships. Damaged mining rigs. Life support systems that failed at the worst possible time. He believed in bolts, wires, and logic. Not destiny. And yet destiny found him in the ruins of a battlefield no one wanted to claim. The air still smelled like burned metal when his shuttle touched down. The fight had ended days ago. Wreckage covered the cracked ground, destroyed drones, shattered exo-armor, scorched transport hulls. Scavengers had already taken anything valuable. What remained was silence. Cole scanned the debris for salvageable tech. His contract was simple: recover power cores and navigation modules, avoid trouble, ask no questions. Then his scanner beeped. A faint life sign. He froze. The signal was weak. Fading. Not human. Cole exhaled slowly. Getting involved meant paperwork, questioning, maybe even prison depending on which faction claimed the territory this week. He should ignore it. The scanner beeped again, slower now. Damn it, he muttered. He followed the signal through twisted metal and collapsed plating. Under a broken assault frame, he found her. She was tall. Humanoid. Silver-gray skin patterned with faint glowing lines. Her armor was unlike anything he had seen, sleek, elegant, and torn apart by concentrated plasma fire. Multiple punctures. Internal systems failing. She should already be dead. But she wasn't. Her breathing was shallow. Irregular. Cole knelt beside her. "I am not qualified for this," he whispered. But he opened his toolkit anyway. Her armor still had power, barely. He found an emergency interface port and connected his diagnostic pad. The display that appeared made him blink. This was not militia tech. Not pirate tech. Not anything local. This was advanced. Extremely advanced. Her life support systems were collapsing because the main power conduit had shattered. Backup circuits were fried. Internal autosurgeons were offline. Cole's brain shifted into familiar territory. Not a dying alien. A failing system. He bypassed the destroyed conduit, rerouting remaining energy to vital subsystems. He connected his portable fusion cell, feeding power directly into her armor grid. Sparks flew. Warnings flashed in a language he didn't understand. He ignored them. Come on, come on. Her vitals stabilized slightly. Not good. But not fatal. He sealed the armor breaches with industrial repair foam. It wasn't designed for biology, but it would stop pressure loss. He recalibrated thermal regulation to prevent shock. Every move was a guess built on engineering logic. Machines made sense. Life was just complicated machinery. 27 minutes later, he leaned back, sweating. She was still alive. Cole stared at her. He had just committed himself to something much bigger than salvage. He lifted her carefully and carried her to his shuttle. He told himself it was temporary. Just until she stabilized. Just until he could figure out who she belonged to. 3 hours later, his shuttle landed inside an abandoned mining facility carved into an asteroid's hollow core. It still had power. Mostly. He converted a maintenance bay into a medical station using fabrication tools and industrial scanners. He connected her armor to the facility's reactor and accessed deeper diagnostics. The data scrolling across his screen made his stomach tighten. Her internal structure was extraordinary. Redundant organ clusters. Neural pathways woven with something that looked almost like quantum circuitry. Cellular regeneration systems far beyond human medicine. Who was she? And who would send enough firepower to almost kill her? Cole worked through the night. He fabricated temporary vascular shunts from medical-grade polymers. He synthesized metabolic stabilizers using the station's chemical processor. He modified a materials resonance scanner into a cellular stimulation field. None of this was legal. None of it was approved. All of it worked. By morning, her breathing was steady. Her internal bleeding had stopped. Her neural activity increased. Cole sat on the cold metal floor, staring at the diagnostic screen. "You're stubborn," he said quietly. "I respect that." Exhaustion pulled him down. He fell asleep against the wall. He never saw her eyes open. The alien woman did not move at first. Her awareness returned slowly, like light breaking through heavy clouds. Pain registered first. Then memory. The ambush. The betrayal. The realization that someone had discovered her location. She remained still, using passive sensors. Industrial facility. Improvised medical systems. Human biological signature nearby. She reviewed her armor logs. The human had stabilized her failing systems using techniques that bordered on reckless genius. His methods were crude, inelegant, effective. He had no idea who she was. That alone saved his life. Because the woman lying on that metal platform was not merely a soldier. She was Empress Serelith Vera, sovereign of the Aurelian Concord, ruler of 812 star systems. For 40 years, she had governed in secrecy, her existence hidden behind algorithms and distributed authority. No public throne. No visible crown. Invisible. Untouchable. Until someone found her. And nearly succeeded. Her consciousness reached for the Imperial Network, the vast quantum lattice that allowed her to oversee entire civilizations at once. Nothing. Connection severed. If she remained offline too long, power vacuums would form. Rival factions would rise. Wars would ignite. Billions could die. Her golden eyes shifted toward the sleeping human. He had saved her without asking reward. Without knowing the weight of what he had done. For the first time in decades, Serelith felt something unexpected. Uncertainty. Because the galaxy believed humans were minor players. Creative. Yes. Persistent. Yes. But politically insignificant. Yet this one human had done what elite Imperial medics might have failed to accomplish under battlefield conditions. He had improvised life from ruin. Serelith slowly moved her fingers. Strength was returning. If her enemies learned she survived, they would come again. And this time, they would not underestimate collateral damage. Her gaze settled on Cole Arden. He had chosen compassion. Now he would be pulled into galactic survival. And neither of them understood that humanity's greatest strength was not its fleets, not its weapons, but its stubborn refusal to let broken things stay broken. Outside the asteroid facility, deep space remained silent. But forces were already moving. Because somewhere far beyond this forgotten mining rock, powerful beings had just received confirmation of one terrible truth. The Empress still lived. And she was no longer alone. Cole woke to the sound of metal clicking. His eyes snapped open. For a half second, he didn't know where he was, then the smell of coolant and burnt foam brought it back. The makeshift med bay. The alien. The impossible night. He turned his head. She was sitting up. Not fully steady, but upright, shoulders squared despite the pain. Her eyes, golden, sharp, and far too calm for someone who had almost died, locked onto him like a targeting system. Cole's hands lifted slowly. "Okay. Hi. You're alive. That's good." She did not speak. Instead, her gaze moved across the room. She studied his tools, the improvised power routing, the patched armor seams, the chemical vials, the modified resonance rig. She looked at his work the way a commander inspects a battlefield. Then she spoke in a voice rough with damage but controlled. "Human," she said. The word sounded like an assessment, not an insult. "Why?" Cole blinked. "Why what? Why did you save me?" He stared at her like she'd asked why oxygen was useful. "Because you were dying." "That is not an answer," she said. Cole rubbed his face and tried to keep his voice steady. "It is for humans. Most of us don't like stepping over someone who's bleeding out. Not the decent ones, anyway." Her expression did not change, but something in her posture shifted, like a weapon lowering by 1 degree. "What is your designation?" she asked. "Cole Arden. Engineer." I fix systems. I salvage broken tech. I should have ignored you. You did not. No, he said quietly. I didn't. She held his gaze for a long moment. Then her eyes flicked downward, unfocused, as if listening to something no one else could hear. Cole noticed it then, the faint shimmer along her skin markings, dimmer than before. Like a circuit running on low power. You're trying to connect to something, he said. Her head tilted slightly. You observe well. I had to keep you alive. He nodded toward the terminal. Your armor's network module is fried. Or blocked. I don't know. But something is interfering. That got her full attention. Interfering, she repeated. Cole walked to the console and pulled up the diagnostic map. See this? Your suit keeps pinging for a quantum handshake. It's not just failing. It's being drowned out. Like someone is jamming the channel from far away. Her fingers tightened on the edge of the platform. Then they are close. Who is they? Cole asked. She looked at him. Cole felt it in his bones. This was not a normal soldier. Not even an elite one. The calm was too deep. The focus too sharp. They are the reason I was left to die, she said. Cole swallowed. Okay. That's bad. He glanced around the bay. We should move. Where? She asked. Cole forced a small laugh. Funny you ask. I don't have a grand plan. I have an abandoned asteroid mine, a portable fusion cell, and a lot of bad decisions. She stood. Pain flashed across her face, but she didn't let it show for more than a heartbeat. She stepped down, testing weight, then walked, unsteady, but moving. Cole's engineer brain did quick math. She was healing fast. Faster than any human could. Then the facility lights flickered. Both of them froze. The power grid hummed, then dipped again, like something huge had just pulled energy from the station. Cole's console chimed with an alert. External scan. Unknown vessel approaching. Cole's stomach dropped. No. No. This facility doesn't even have a beacon. The alien's eyes narrowed. They tracked me. How? Cole snapped. I dragged you through vacuum and dust and dead metal. I didn't ping anyone. I didn't even file a report. She said one word. Blood. Cole stared. She lifted her injured arm slightly. My species carries trace quantum markers in our fluids. It allows secure identification across distance. It can also be used as a leash. Cole felt anger flare. So if they have your blood, they can tune a signal, she finished, and follow it. Another flicker. The lights dimmed. A low vibration rolled through the asteroid like distant thunder. Cole moved fast. Okay. We have minutes. Maybe less. He grabbed his portable drive pack and began ripping cables from the console. Can you fight? She looked down at her damaged armor, then back at him. Not as I am. Can you run? I can endure. That's not the same thing, Cole muttered. The scanner screamed again. Unknown vessel now within immediate interception range. Cole's hands trembled, but his mind sharpened. Panic was useless. He had lived his whole life keeping failing systems alive under pressure. When everything breaks, you don't pray. You patch. You reroute. You improvise. He looked at the mine's systems map. A half-collapsed tunnel ran out toward the outer rock layer. Old mining drones still sat in storage. Deactivated. Rusted. An idea hit him like lightning. Okay, he said, voice tight. We're going to do something stupid. The alien watched him. That appears to be your pattern. Cole almost smiled. Yeah. Welcome to humanity. He hauled open a storage bay. Inside were 6 mining drones, heavy-bodied, armored, designed to drill through rock and haul ore. Not weapons. Not sleek. But solid. He dragged a control core out, slammed it into an old terminal, and began rewriting code at speed. The alien stepped closer. What are you doing? Turning these into decoys, he said. If they're tracking your quantum marker, we can give them more of it. That is impossible, she said. Cole grabbed the vial of synthesized stabilizer he had made for her. Not impossible. Just rude. He had already analyzed her armor chemistry the night before. He had samples in the filter trays. Tiny traces. He fed the trace into the station's molecular printer and told it to replicate the marker pattern, not the biology. It was a counterfeit scent. A fake trail. The printer whined, then produced small gel capsules. Cole smiled grimly. There we go. He smeared the gel capsules across the mining drone's plating, then loaded each drone with a chunk of old ore and a small power cell. Then he rerouted the station's remaining reactor output into the drone launch rails. Outside, the asteroid trembled again, stronger now. The alien's voice dropped. They will breach this facility. Let them, Cole said. We won't be here. He pointed toward the ore tunnel path. That tunnel exits near a fractured ridge. I can get us into a small maintenance pod and shoot us out like scrap. No transponder. No active drive. We drift. Drifting is slow, she said. Yeah, Cole said, but it's quiet. Quiet is good when someone wants you dead. Another vibration. A loud metallic groan echoed through the mine, docking clamps biting into rock. Cole's heart hammered. Time's up. He hit the drone launch. One by one, the mining drones shot into open space through old rail ports. Each drone carried a strong quantum marker signal now. Each drone was moving in a different direction, powered just enough to look like an escape. Cole grabbed a battered maintenance pod, a small sphere meant for exterior repairs, then shoved tools and power cells inside. Get in, he told her. She hesitated for half a second. Not fear. Calculation. Then she stepped in. Cole sealed the pod. As the internal air pressure stabilized, the facility shook violently. A section of wall buckled. Dust rained down. Cole initiated the emergency ejection system. The pod launched. For a moment, Cole felt weightless. Then the asteroid vanished behind them, and the stars opened wide. He cut all active emissions. No engines. No comms. Only silence. Behind them, in the distance, the unknown vessel fired. Bright beams sliced through the dark, striking the drifting mining drones. One exploded. Another spun and broke apart. The hunters were biting the bait. Cole watched with clenched fists. Please take it. Please take it. The alien stared at the distant flashes with cold intensity. They will realize, she said softly. Maybe, Cole replied. But not fast enough. A new flash lit the stars. The unknown ship accelerated after one of the drones, chasing the loudest signal. Cole exhaled shakily. Okay. We bought time. The alien turned her head toward him. You are not trained for this. No, Cole said. I'm trained for broken systems. Her eyes narrowed. And yet you turned their hunt against them. Cole looked out at the stars, then back at her. I told you. Humans are stubborn. If you hit us, we don't just bleed. We learn. A faint sound came from her armor then, like a distant chime. She stiffened. Her eyes went unfocused again. Cole leaned forward. What is it? Her voice was quiet, and for the first time, it carried something close to fear. My network, she whispered. A fragment, answered. Cole's throat went dry. That's good, right? She stared into the dark. It means I am not alone, she said. And it means my enemies will now hunt harder. The maintenance pod drifted farther into the void, silent as a lie. And somewhere out there, the galaxy began to wake, because the secret ruler it thought was dead had just sent out the smallest possible sign of life. A flicker. A heartbeat. A warning. The galaxy had planned for fleets. It had planned for weapons. It had planned for war. It had not planned for a human engineer with a drifting repair pod and absolutely nothing left to lose. The maintenance pod floated in silence, spinning slowly against a sea of distant stars. No engine flare. No broadcast. Just two life forms pretending to be debris. Inside, Cole Arden adjusted the manual stabilizers for the 5th time. "We are officially space trash," he muttered. "High-quality space trash, but still." Across from him, the alien woman, Empress Seralith Vera, though he still did not know her name, sat with eyes closed, focusing inward. The faint glow in the markings along her skin pulsed slightly brighter now. A connection had returned. Small. Fragile. But real. She could feel fragments of the Imperial network flickering at the edge of her awareness. Governors reporting confusion. Defense systems shifting into alert mode. Trade lanes pausing in uncertainty. Her absence had been noticed. Her survival would soon be discovered. And when it was, the ones who tried to kill her would escalate beyond secrecy. Cole noticed her expression tighten. That bad? She opened her eyes. The Concorde trembles. Power vacuums form quickly in empires built on stability. Cole gave a dry laugh. "Trust me. Humans are experts at unstable leadership." She studied him again. "You speak lightly of danger." "I fix reactors that can vaporize cities if I wire them wrong," he replied. "You either joke about it or you panic. Panic doesn't help." A soft tremor shook the pod. Cole froze. That was not internal drift. That was a gravitational ripple. His eyes snapped to the external sensor grid. A shadow moved against the stars. Large. Angular. Silent. The same class of vessel that attacked the asteroid. "They found us," Cole breathed. Seralitha's gaze hardened. "No. They did not track us." The ship did not fire. It simply appeared, emerging from warped space like a predator surfacing from dark water. Then a second ship blinked into existence behind it. Cole's pulse pounded in his ears. "That's not chasing drones." "No," she said quietly. "That is containment." He swallowed. "How do they even see us?" "We're cold. Dead silent." "They are not scanning for emissions," she replied. "They are scanning for absence." Cole blinked. "Absence?" "You are a human engineer," she said. "What happens when a system expects background radiation and it finds none?" His eyes widened. "You look for what's missing," he whispered. The ships weren't hunting noise. They were hunting silence. Cole exhaled sharply. "That's clever." "Yes," Seralith said. "They are." A narrow beam of light swept across nearby debris. The pod's hull vibrated faintly. "They'll scan us in seconds," Cole said. Seralith straightened despite her injuries. "If they capture me alive, the Concorde falls." "Yeah, well," Cole snapped, adrenaline cutting through fear. "I'm not letting that happen." He grabbed the pod's maintenance panel and ripped it open. "You cannot outgun them," she said. "I'm not trying to." He tore out the environmental regulator's coolant coil. The pod temperature began to rise immediately. "Cole," she said sharply, using his name for the first time. He froze for half a second. Then kept moving. "They're scanning for absence, right? For unnatural cold drift patterns." He rewired the coil into the power grid. "Then we stop being silent." The pod began heating. Rapidly. Warning alarms flared red. Internal temperature climbing. Seralith understood instantly. "You will cook yourself alive." "Not if I do it right." He overclocked the fusion cell, feeding excess power into the hull plating. The pod began radiating heat, wild, chaotic heat, like a chunk of unstable scrap torn from a larger explosion. The scanning beam passed over them again. This time, the pod flared bright on the spectrum. Not quiet. Not empty. Messy. Broken. The lead ship adjusted slightly. Then, moved past them. Cole held his breath. The second ship followed. They were scanning for controlled stealth signatures. Not reckless overheating junk. The pod drifted, glowing faintly in infrared. The ships moved farther away. 10 seconds. 20. 30. Cole finally collapsed back against the wall, sweat pouring down his face. Serelith watched him with something new in her eyes. Respect. You altered their expectations, she said softly. Cole wiped his forehead. Engineers don't fight systems head-on. We make the system fight itself. She looked out at the retreating ships. For decades, my people have viewed humanity as inventive but strategically insignificant, she said. Cole laughed weakly. Yeah, we get that a lot. You are wrong, she said. He glanced at her. For the first time in 40 years, Serelith continued, I required an unpredictable variable. He raised an eyebrow. That's me. You are chaos, she said. He smiled tiredly. Thanks. I think. A sudden pulse surged through her armor. Stronger this time. Her eyes widened. The network, she whispered. It is stabilizing. Across 800 star systems, dormant protocols awakened. Encrypted channels reopened. Defense fleets received a single, undeniable command signature. The Empress lived. And she was moving. On the distant hunter ships, alarms ignited. The target they believed contained had just reconnected to galactic infrastructure. One of the ships turned sharply, too late. Because space bent again. Not once. Not twice. But dozens of times. Massive Concorde vessels emerged from fold space like rising giants. Silent. Terrifying. Cole stared out the viewport in disbelief. Please tell me those are friendly. They are loyal, Serelith said. The hunter ships attempted escape. They did not succeed. Bright arcs of controlled energy disabled them within seconds. Precise, not destructive. Cole blinked. You could have done that earlier. I could not, she replied. Until you bought me time. A Concorde cruiser approached their tiny pod. Compared to it, they were microscopic. A docking field enveloped them gently. Inside the cruiser, medical teams waited. Soldiers stood in formation. Commanders knelt as Serelith stepped out of the pod, still injured but unbowed. Cole stumbled after her, overwhelmed by the scale of it all. Rows of armored beings bowed their heads. Your radiance, one said. Cole froze. Radiance, he whispered. Serelith turned slightly toward him. The title hung in the air like gravity. Understanding hit him like impact. You, his voice cracked. You're not just a soldier. She faced him fully now. I am Serelith Vera, she said. Sovereign of the Aurelian Concorde. Cole stared. Then laughed once in disbelief. I saved the galaxy by accident. She tilted her head. No, she corrected. You saved it by choice. Silence filled the docking bay. Thousands of alien eyes shifted to the human. Cole shifted awkwardly. I just didn't want someone to die. Serelith stepped closer. And that, she said, loud enough for the chamber to hear, is why humanity will never be insignificant. The words rippled through the officers. Because empires understood power. But they rarely understood compassion as strategy. Cole looked around at ships capable of crushing worlds. Then down at his oil-stained hands. I'm still just an engineer, he said quietly. Serelith's expression softened, just slightly. Then engineer something greater, she replied. Outside, the hunter vessels were secured. Across the Concorde, stability returned. But something had changed. Because for the first time, the galaxy had seen what humans truly were. Not conquerors. Not rulers. But problem solvers in a universe full of broken systems. And when the universe breaks, humans fix it. Even if they have to rewire the stars to do it. The Concorde fleets turned toward home. Cole stood beside an Empress. And somewhere deep in space, powerful factions recalculated a dangerous new truth. Humanity was no longer a minor species. It was the variable no one could predict.